William Shatner is 94 years old now, and he's finally sharing the truth about James Doohan. William Shatner was born on March 22nd, 1931 in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. William Allen Shatner grew up in a Jewish family with his parents, Joseph, Ann, and Shatner. When he was young, he loved learning new things and was really good at performing. He went to McGill University where he studied economics, but he also really loved drama and acting. That's where he learned that acting wasn't just fun. It was a way to explore what makes people tick, what's right and wrong, and to use your imagination. After he finished college, Shatner trained to become an actor and started performing on stage. This was the start of an amazing career with lots of different roles. Shatner's early years as an actor were spent doing plays, especially at the Stratford Festival in Canada. There, he performed in Shakespeare plays alongside some of the best actors around. Learning to do these classic plays taught him how to speak powerfully, how to command a stage, and how to use his voice in special ways that would later make him famous on TV. He started doing movies and TV shows in the 1950s and early 1960s. He appeared as a guest star and in smaller roles in shows like Alfred Hitchcock Presents, The Twilight Zone, and a movie called Judgment at Nuremberg. These roles showed everyone that he was a strong, smart actor who could show real emotions, even before he became famous. That fame came in 1966 when Shatner got the role of Captain James T. Kirk in Star Trek. As the cool and brave captain of the Spaceship Enterprise, Shatner created one of the most famous characters ever on TV. His version of Kirk was a leader who was courageous, believed in doing the right thing, and had faith that people could be good. This helped make Star Trek more than just a sci-fi show. It became something that made people think about big ideas. During a time when America was going through a lot of changes and problems, the show gave people hope for the future. It showed people working together, celebrating differences, and trying to do what's right. Shatner's acting was super important to making that message work. He made Kirk strong but also showed his feelings, and he was smart but also passionate. Even though Star Trek didn't get great ratings at first and got canceled after 3 seasons, something amazing happened next. The show kept playing in reruns. Fans started having conventions, they made movies, and later more TV shows. The whole Star Trek thing became huge all over the world. Shatner played Captain Kirk again in 7 Star Trek movies. This let his character grow older, change, and even face death, something that most actors never get to do with one character. His last time playing Kirk was in Star Trek Generations in 1994. Some people loved it and some didn't, but it showed that a new group of actors was taking over, while Shatner's place in history was set in stone. After Star Trek suddenly ended in 1969, William Shatner was in a tough spot that most actors aren't ready for. Everyone knew him as Captain James T. Kirk, and that caused a big problem. He was famous everywhere, but he couldn't get other jobs. The people who pick actors for movies couldn't see him as anyone but the guy in the space uniform. Shatner, who had been the face of this huge show, suddenly didn't know what his career would be like next. But instead of giving up, he found ways to keep going. During this hard time, he did a lot of TV work, showing he could play different kinds of roles in shows like The Andersonville Trial, an adventure series called Barbary Coast that didn't last long but looked really cool, and he even went on game shows like the Hollywood Squares. These jobs might not have been as cool as Star Trek, but they kept him on TV, kept him working, and helped him stay strong in a business where people forget about you fast. Things got way better in 1979 when Star Trek, the motion picture, came out. The movie brought Star Trek back in a huge way, and also brought Shatner's career back to life. Going back to being the captain of a USS Enterprise as Kirk, he took back the role that had made him famous, but also trapped him. Except this time, he was in control. The movie did really well, and that led to Shatner playing Kirk in 6 more Star Trek movies. This made him one of the biggest stars in science fiction ever. Besides the official Star Trek stuff, he also had fun making fun of himself. He appeared as silly versions of Captain Kirk in movies like Airplane 2, the sequel, and National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon 1. This showed he had a great sense of humor and wasn't afraid to joke about being so famous. In 1982, Shatner changed things up again with the TV show T.J. Hooker. As a tough, street-smart police sergeant, he got away from space stuff and showed he could be the star of a rough, action-packed cop show. He didn't just act in it. He also directed some episodes, which let him be creative in new ways. The show lasted for 5 seasons and introduced Shatner to kids who hadn't seen him before. In 1989, he became someone Americans saw all the time in their homes as a host of a show called Rescue 911 that went on for a long time. The show told real stories about emergencies and rescues. It ran for 7 years and showed Shatner in a calmer, more serious role that was really different from his bigger, more dramatic performances before. Around this time, Shatner also started writing books. He loved science fiction and thinking about the future, so he helped create and write the Tech War series, starting with a book called Tech War. The books sold really well and were turned into TV movies and a short TV series. This proved that his success wasn't just about acting. He could do other creative things too. One of the coolest things that happened late in his career was when he played a flashy, big-headed lawyer named Denny Crane on a show called The Practice. He was only supposed to be in a few episodes, but people loved him so much that it became a huge deal. People loved watching him be arrogant, vulnerable, and super funny with his words. Everyone loved the character so much that they made a new show called Boston Legal in 2004 just for him. Shatner's work on that show got tons of praise, and he won several awards. People said it was some of the best acting he'd ever done. It showed that he wasn't just a TV icon. He was a really talented actor who could play complicated characters. In 2008, Shatner wrote a book about his life called Up Till Now. The book let readers see everything about his life, the good stuff, the failures, what he wanted to do, and how he kept changing and trying new things. It showed that he was someone who refused to let other people's expectations limit him. Since then, he stayed incredibly busy, showing up in tons of TV shows, documentaries, movies, and public projects. Instead of just living off his old fame, William Shatner has kept changing and growing. This proves that constantly reinventing yourself, not just being a star, is the real secret to lasting a long time in Hollywood. As he's gotten older, Shatner has become a surprising champion for curiosity and exploration. He's interested in science, technology, and the future, so he's hosted documentary shows and talked publicly about space, new inventions, and what humans' future might be. In 2021, when he was 90 years old, he made history by actually going into space on Blue Origin's New Shepard rocket. He became the oldest person ever to go to space. How emotional that moment was. His thoughts about how delicate Earth is and how quiet spaces really touch people all around the world. It was a powerful ending to a lifetime of imagining what space would be like. His personal life, just like his famous career, happened over many years filled with love, hope, heartbreak, and amazing strength. On August 12, 1956, when he was becoming a star, he married an actress named Gloria Rand. Many people thought they'd be together forever. Together, they started a family and had 3 daughters who would always be a huge part of his life. For 13 years, their marriage survived the tough parts of Hollywood, being famous and busy careers. But eventually they got divorced, a quiet but important moment in his personal life. In 1973, he fell in love again and married Marcy Lafferty. This became his longest marriage. For more than 20 years, their marriage lasted through good times and hard times as his career changed and he became even more famous. They didn't have kids together, but their relationship was a time when things were stable and they were good companions. But after 23 years, the marriage ended in 1996, closing a really important chapter of his life. The saddest part came soon after. In 1997, he married an actress named Naring Kidd. Their relationship was passionate, but also troubled by personal problems. Just 2 years later, something terrible happened. Kidd died after drowning in a swimming pool. Alcohol and a drug called Valium were involved in her death. The loss was sudden, heartbreaking, and everyone knew about it. It left an emotional wound that would forever change how he thought about love, loss, and how fragile life is. Even though he went through such deep sadness, he didn't give up on love. In 2001, he married Elizabeth Joyce Martin. This was a new start based on companionship and caring about each other. Their marriage lasted almost 20 years, showing they could stick together and support each other. But eventually the couple split up in 2020. At 94 years old, William Shatner is at an age where looking back comes naturally, and he doesn't feel like he needs to hold back anymore. Time has made old arguments matter less and helped him see things more clearly. And with that clearer view, Shatner has finally talked honestly and with real emotion about his Star Trek co-star from long ago, James Doohan. For decades, fans could tell there was tension between the two men, a distance that seemed weird compared to friendship they showed on screen. Now, near the end of his life and career, Shatner has chosen to be honest instead of careful. He's revealed a truth that's more complicated, more human, and kinder than the rumors that people used to talk about. Looking back at their early years together, Shatner has admitted that things on the original Star Trek set weren't always friendly. Fame came suddenly. People's feelings got hurt easily, and working long hours under lots of pressure made every little problem bigger. We were all young men thrown into something far bigger than we understood, Shatner said. When Star Trek began, none of us knew it would become such a huge cultural thing. We were just trying to survive the work, what people expected from us, and dealing with ourselves. In that situation, misunderstandings were bound to happen, and Shatner admits that he didn't always see Doohan clearly or treat him fairly. James Doohan, who played the lovable character Montgomery Scotty Scott, brought warmth, humor, and quiet professionalism to the set. But Shatner admits that he once didn't appreciate him enough. Jimmy wasn't loud about his talent, and I didn't always pay attention to what he was giving, he said. That's on me. I was focused on carrying the show, and sometimes I missed the generosity right beside me. These words are really different from how Shatner used to defend himself. They show an emotional growth that came from looking back over many years. As time went on and Star Trek became a worldwide phenomenon, Doohan's connection with fans became impossible to ignore. Shatner now talks openly about watching that bond with admiration instead of jealousy. I saw how people lit up around Jimmy, he said. They didn't just love Scotty, they loved him. He made them feel seen, and that's a rare gift. Shatner acknowledges that Doohan's legacy went way beyond what people saw on TV. He inspired engineers, astronauts, and dreamers who saw in Scotty a symbol of hope and cleverness. Shatner has also talked about the long-running stories that he and Doohan weren't friends, but now he speaks with regret instead of denying it. We were never enemies, he explained, but we weren't as close as we could have been, and I regret that. Life moves fast, and you assume there will always be time to say the things that matter. When Doohan passed away in 2005, that unspoken space became permanent. Shatner was left with questions he could never ask and thanks he could never say directly. Now, looking at things from an older age, Shatner talked about Doohan with respect and humility. Jimmy was a better man than he ever got credit for, he said quietly. He carried wounds from his past, from the war, and he still showed up with kindness and humor. That takes strength. By recognizing Doohan's strength and character, Shatner is changing their shared history. It's not about them being rivals. It's about two imperfect men dealing with extraordinary situations. In the end, Shatner's truth isn't about admitting he did something wrong or changing what happened. It's about recognizing that everyone is human. If I could speak to him now, I'd say thank you, he said. Thank you for your work, your patience, and for being part of something that changed all our lives. At 94, William Shatner's words carry the weight of all his experiences and the grace that comes with acceptance. He's giving fans a touching reminder that even legends keep learning, thinking about their lives, and growing long after the final curtain has fallen.